From the insanity surrounding the Stanley Cup to how we can break the pattern that leads to this behavior, here's everything you need to know about conspicuous consumption and the obsession with looking rich. Now, y'all heard about the whole Stanley Cup insanity, right? This unassuming stainless steel tumbler is a decent buy, in my opinion. For starters, it's a lot more sustainable than using disposable water bottles, and I definitely love how they look. But let me just say, people are going way overboard with them. It all started when a TikTok user named Danielle posted about the tumbler on her page. Apparently, it was somehow able to survive a fire that consumed her car, and even the ice inside was miraculously intact. The video went viral, the brand she inadvertently pushed gifted her a new car, and all of a sudden, everyone and their mother are swarming towards Target everywhere to get their hands on one. I'll admit, the cups have a shocking level of durability, but are they really worth the stampedes? Just to be clear, I'm not exaggerating. A video taken in El Paso showed a crowd of buyers trampling over each other to buy a Stanley Cup. And over in Arizona, these cups flew off the shelves and went out of stock in just 4 minutes. Now, it'd be one thing if people just bought these cups to have a handy water container, but that's not quite what's happening here. Instead, you have people buying up a dozen Stanley Cups in different colors, all so that they can match them with their various outfits. To make things worse, a lot of buyers aren't even looking to use these cups on a day-to-day basis. Plenty of these items are purchased and then put up for resale on eBay, with some fetching as much as $240 a pop. So what exactly is happening here? Why are people losing their minds over a steel tumbler? Well, TikTok trends have a nasty habit of costing people their sanity. This isn't a new thing, by the way. It seems like there's a new TikTok trend practically every other day, and that's by design. The platform wants to keep engagement as high as possible, and switching to a new trend helps with that. The algorithm is specifically geared towards making new viral trends as often as possible. And when you consider the whole TikTok made me buy it phenomenon, you'll realize that the Stanley Cup is just the latest in a long line of viral trends. In case you don't know, conspicuous consumption is when people buy things for attention. These purchases aren't made for utility. They're not made out of necessity. Rather, they're basically a way for people to show off their wealth, and up until recently, this was only something that the rich were able to afford. In the 2020s, this purchasing behavior has trickled down into the middle class as well, and that's largely due to influencer culture. Remember when people used to make fun of influencers? I mean, we all still do. But over the past decade, they've gone from being talentless hacks pushing products to genuinely wealthy individuals. Or, well, some of them have gotten wealthy at any rate, and as for the rest, they're struggling to catch up. Regular people are also trying to break into the scene. And even if you are not interested in making money like this, you are probably obsessed with replicating their lifestyle. It makes a lot of sense, honestly. After all, influencers travel in private jets, wear the most fabulous clothes, and get to see the world on the brand's dime. A small problem though, it's all fake, like those private jet rides. Yeah, sorry to have to tell you this, but there's a studio in Los Angeles that lets you take pictures in a fake private jet, all for just $60 an hour. Influencers have a knack for curating their public image, so it's no wonder that people never catch on. You see a bunch of perfect little models running on the beach, and you assume that's just what they always look like. But tell me this, when was the last time you wore makeup on vacation? It's all just for show, and the main goal is to sell you stuff you don't need. People see these influencers and they want in on the action. They want to feel like they're on top of the world, but the consumerist culture this creates just isn't sustainable. According to Heal the Planet, consumption has increased by 28% in the past decade, and that's mostly coming from the West. Instagram was where influencers first started taking root, but TikTok mutated them into their monstrous present-day form. And let me tell you, the Stanley Cup fiasco is the least of the problems it's caused. Americans need 9.5 hectares of land each to support their lifestyle. The rest of the world just needs 2.7, so you can see how unfair this is to most of the global population. If this was just Stanley Cups, it might not have been that big of a deal. But the fast fashion industry is straight up choking the world. It's now the second biggest polluter on the planet, with an estimated 100 billion garments being produced each year, and most of it just goes to waste. Studies have shown that 87% of this material just ends up in landfills, which amounts to 92 million tons of textile waste. Apparently, people just wear clothes 7 times on average before tossing them out. The industry is making more clothes than anyone could possibly need, and the blame lies with conspicuous consumption. Influencers and the social media platforms that support them are creating a vicious cycle. People see their lives and copy them. They create an Instagram feed that's artificially perfect, and that inspires all of their followers to try the same thing. Don't get me wrong, I respect the hustle. Like, get that bag, sis, and do whatever it takes to pay your bills, but maybe don't pretend you fly in private jets. But who am I kidding? Influencers will never stop promoting fake lifestyles. Social media platforms are incentivized to promote harmful trends. So at the end of the day, things are probably going to get a lot worse. If you want to know why, just take a look at TikTok's new live shopping feature. It allows users to buy products from a live stream, and around 45 of Chinese online shoppers made purchases through them in 2023. Over in the US, the live streaming shopping market on TikTok is expected to hit $35 billion in value in 2024. Here's why this is a problem. TikTok thrives on fast fashion and shallow aesthetic trends. There was a time when fashion brands used to put out a summer and winter catalog. That's 2 new collections per year. It seems pretty reasonable, except it's nowhere close to being enough in the age of TikTok. Nowadays, brands put out around 52 micro collections a year. That's like a new collection every single week, and it's all because of how quickly trends die out. The Stanley Cup might be the hottest item on the market right now, but fast forward a few months and people will barely remember it. All those Stanley Cups will end up in a landfill because everyone will have jumped onto the next big thing. Now, if you're worried about conspicuous consumption and how you might be participating in it, there are a few steps you can take to avoid it. Impulse buying is a serious problem since it's one of the biggest drivers of conspicuous consumption. A 2022 survey showed that 73% of adults are making impulsive purchases, and in total, they spend around $314 a month on stuff they could easily go without. Here's what you can try. If you see something on TikTok that you instinctively want to buy, try waiting 24 hours instead. This will give you time to actually weigh your options and figure out if you really want the product in the first place. You see, the human brain can get hijacked by a need for instant gratification. Pressing that buy button as soon as you see a cute skirt on TikTok floods it with dopamine. So your brain associates this behavior with getting a reward. Taking a pause before pushing that button breaks the pattern, allowing you to make a more rational decision. It's worth a shot, because if we don't change our habits as soon as possible, there's no telling where things could go from here. So, from what you can do to change your buying habits to the ridiculous obsession with the Stanley Cup, this was everything you needed to know about the conspicuous consumption trend taking the world by storm.